On this episode of Purposely Curious, we discuss a hot topic at the moment, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. This ongoing saga continues with no signs of slowing down. They are now suing each other in U.S. courts for defamation. It is unfortunate that this is continuing, but can you blame Johnny Depp for being quote-unquote canceled in a career-ending alleged accusation? I don't know. So, get nice and cozy as this episode starts now. Hello, Leonie.
Hello, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. How are things? What's going on?
Good. It's been a few weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, it's like it felt like months.
Oh, stop it.
It's been so long. You're saying
I've
weeks.
been
I'm like,
busy.
okay, I believe you. Weeks.
No. Yeah. So, what's new with you? Tell me.
Ooh.
And I'm sure the listeners want to hear what's new.
All the juicy details.
All the juicy details.
No, I wish I had some juicy, crazy story details for you, but no, I've just been busy working on projects, trying to get things moving, but everything is so slow because everything's not exactly back to normal yet. But it happens. Whatever, it's life. Move on, deal with it, roll with the punches. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Or, no, just try to enjoy life. Well, the weather's nicer now, so as soon as I get this crazy construction done at my house, I'm gonna be out there doing more nature photography, enjoying the nice weather, and hopefully, catching up with friends and stuff.
Am I making this up? Did you say you had like a pizza oven?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you. I think we talked about that once. I think briefly.
Yeah. Okay. Can you make me pizza this summer?
Of course. It's funny that you mentioned because I'm making.
By the way, I mentioned it because you were talking about you're excited to hang out and have the house, whatever, construction done.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wait, he can maybe host a pizza night for me.
Right. No, I mean, that's exactly the long-term plan eventually. But I'm actually doing a trial run this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Saturday, I'm gonna make the actual dough because I like doing everything from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So Saturday I'm making the dough, but I'm making Neapolitan pizza because you've been to Italy, right? You tried the pizza there, right?
I have, yeah.
So if you have the Neapolitan, usually it comes from the region of Naples, but everybody makes it, like Milan and every big city in Italy makes that kind of pizza. It's like the dough seems like it's thick and fluffy, but it's not. It's all air, and it's very thin and it's crunchy, but it's flavorful. And the weird thing is you don't associate these two things with it, but it's the bacteria that makes all that happen. It's the yeast. And if you let the yeast rise over 24 hours before you make the dough, you create like these gluten like complexes, like these tunnels in the bread. So the bread is not just like bread. The crust is not just bread. It's air. It's like a bunch of holes everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the bacteria did its job and it's consuming its way through the gluten and then the yeast, and through the dough. So that's one of the secrets. So I've been looking at all that. I'm like, okay, how do I make it? What's the most efficient way? Where does the flavor come from? And so apparently I'm going to try that this weekend because I've never done it this way. So if I'm successful, the hard part will be done Saturday because the easy part is cooking it because in the pizza oven, they cook in 1 minute or 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Wow.
So isn't that cool that you can make somebody a custom pizza, whatever they want on it, in 1 minute, 30 seconds?
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm in love with that concept. And if I can master it this weekend, then I look forward to hosting wine and pizza nights with people and coming up with my own, my own flavors, my own styles,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I hope you invite me when you have a night
Of course.
of those.
Absolutely. You're just gonna have to tell me what your favorite toppings are, or what you like and don't like.
Yeah. I don't necessarily have a specific pizza that I like. But I do like thin crust. But pizza is good.
Yeah.
What was that saying you said that I quoted you on this podcast? Say it.
Okay. Sex for a guy is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good.
Yeah. So
Ladies
what
and
I was
gentlemen.
going to say is pizza is good no matter what it is. I enjoy pizza even if it's bad.
So you enjoy sex even though it's bad.
No, I'm talking about pizza.
Well,
I'm talking about pizza
sex.
here, but I thought about that quote you said.
Because it's true. For a guy, it's true. And any guy that wants to like challenge me on that, it's going to be a silly argument because it's like, dude, you're a guy. There's no fucking reason.
Yeah. I'm talking about pizza.
Pizza's good. But seriously, like my pizza styles are going to be very traditional Italian. So it's going to be like fresh mozzarella. It's going to be margarita based. So it's going to be like sauce, cheese, that's it, and basil, that's it. But I'm looking to explore with a couple ideas with like maybe do a version that has like sun-dried tomatoes, or like a seared spinach or something, so something simple but still authentic to the margarita style. So that's, we'll see if I'm successful. We'll see this weekend.
I'm sure you will be. Keep us posted. Yeah.
So what's new with you? What's going on?
Nothing really. I went to Miami since we last sat down and recorded.
What is in Miami?
So you've heard of Bad Bunny?
Yes.
Yeah. So one of my best friends had bought tickets for her and her boyfriend at the time, and they have since split. So I was kind of taking his spot. Even though when they had bought tickets to the concert, I had said, we can, because I guess the concert was on Friday. I had joked about not joked about, I was serious about inviting myself to make a weekend out of it, a weekend getaway. So that's why we went out and we spent like a long weekend out there. So
nice.
It was a little chaotic. But yeah, I don't think I'll be back to Miami in a very long time.
I was going to say, like, I don't know. For me, I have no appeal to go there ever, Like I have friends that live in the Keys, like in Key Biscayne or Key Largo, and I'm like, that's where I'll go because I want to be away from city life. Like I can get city life here,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, so yeah, I have no appeal to go to Miami.
Yeah. So, but I had fun. You always have fun with your friends.
Of course.
But yeah, but
do you have good food at least? Good food?
Nothing that I would say is, oh my God, amazing.
Okay.
It was good, but I'm a foodie, so
yeah.
I thought it was just good. Good. I was satisfied, but nothing that I was like, oh Lord, this is amazing.
Right.
Yeah. But it could have been where we were going. But it was good. Yeah.
That's cool. At least the weather was nice, right?
Yeah, it was really nice. Yeah. It was nice. I got a little bit of a tan.
Nice.
Yeah. But I wanted to do another episode. This will be our third episode on this subject, Leonie.
Third.
Can you guess what it is?
Let me see. It's music of the 90s.
That is our 90s rock nostalgia episode is our most downloaded episode, by the way. But no, that is not what we're doing.
So let's see. It's not the 90s. It is about UFOs in Area 51.
Nope.
Ooh.
You get one more try.
Strike two. Opening night. I'm striking out here. I can't strike out. Come on. Help me out. Podcast angels, help me out. Would have to be Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Yes. And we have 2 episodes in our top 10 episodes ever downloaded. And our second most downloaded is the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp saga, which we published June 30th of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is not going to be anything new since we've already done 2 episodes, but it seems that there's a whole lot of people out there who are just hearing about it for the first time, apparently, based on what's happening online. We initially discussed on the first episode kind of, I think we tied it into the whole Me Too movement, right?
Right.
The cancel culture. We discussed Amber Heard's side, Johnny Depp's side, and I kind of took Johnny Depp's side based on all the deep dives I was doing, what was on there. And then, we then did a second episode when they had the defamation lawsuit in the UK.
Right.
And we discussed some of the stuff that we discussed in the first episode. But then we discussed some of Amber Heard's legal team's tactics. And we discussed how the British, their court system is a lot different than the American court system.
Right.
So what's happening right now is that now Johnny Depp brought it to the States. Depp is suing Amber Heard for $50 million in a defamation case where Amber Heard in 2018 wrote it like a co-op or opt. She wrote for the Washington Post, calling herself a survivor of domestic abuse, kind of hinting towards everyone assumed this was already Johnny Depp. Since this came out, right?
Right.
Johnny Depp has been basically canceled. You haven't seen Johnny Depp in any movies. You haven't seen him, I think Dior is the only campaign that he's actively in.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And Dior has not turned their back on him, but the movie companies have turned their back on him. And so now he's suing her here in the States for $50 million. And Amber Heard, is countersuing him for $100 million for defamation because his lawyer, Johnny Depp's lawyer, called her allegations a hoax, right? There's a lot of stuff we talked about in the first 2 episodes 2 years ago. So a lot of it, now with TikTok out there, everyone's jumping on it. And a lot of people are saying, how the fuck is Amber Heard still working and Johnny Depp isn't?
Right.
But this is being publicized. This trial here in the States is being publicized. So people are able to go and watch this live and everyone's dissecting how he's acting, how she's acting, right? Plus, they're able to see with this, I think they're looking at, there's going to be about 100 witnesses. That's a lot.
Wow.
And it's so important to Johnny Depp that he's willing to do this and go through this, right? So have you heard anything from the last few days? It's only been going on for like 3 days, I believe. But I thought we would do kind of not a deep dive because we've done those 2 other episodes 2 years ago where we kind of went into it.
Right.
But have you heard anything at least from the last 3 days?
No, I've actually been trying to catch up because I can't remember what the outcome was. The one in London, England, was it in her favor?
They sided with her. God,
it's so weird.
But we discussed how it's different over there.
Right.
They weren't saying he was a domestic violence guy or anything. It was more like whether she was lying or he was lying.
Right.
If that makes sense. Yeah. But I had mentioned how, remember, they hadn't even said in the trial, they hadn't even read like the outcome, and Amber Heard was already doing a press conference about being a survivor. And I told you in that episode, she's trying to beat him to, control the narrative that's out there in the media. And so with basically everyone in the UK trial was siding with him. But it came down to whether there was a lie. No, so here it's like, again, it goes back to the defamation, But for those of you who kind of don't know much about this, there's a lot of audio out there online that's been out there for years.
Right.
Right. And there's a lot of videos out there as well that don't paint Amber Heard in a really good light. But somehow she's gotten she used the Me Too movement to kind of make it to where she's a survivor. Now, again, I should say, and this is something that I've said in the other episodes, no one is saying he's got issues, right? No one is saying he doesn't have a drinking problem. He's not an ass, but everything that's out there video-wise and so on and so forth is pretty damning on her end, but somehow he got canceled. And if you guys haven't been following it, when's the last movie you saw him on?
Yeah, and wasn't there recent news about he was not considered for the Fantastic Beasts sequel or something? Or there was some movie,
He was
right?
dropped.
He was dropped, right?
He had done the first one, yeah. And she's still doing... So
she's still attached to Aquaman too?
She's still doing it. She hasn't been dropped. And that's where a lot of people are saying, because there's audio of her saying, who the fuck is going to believe you? Yeah, I hit you. All that's out there, guys. You guys can Google it. I'm not going to go in depth because we already did it. But let's say he did what I guess the therapist says is that they were both abusive to each other. She didn't specify verbal or physical. What we know on video and on, on audio is that she has hit him physically.
Right.
She also said, I can't promise you I won't be physical again. It's all out there.
Right.
But for some reason, she's not canceled. He was canceled.
Why do you think that is, though?
That's what people are trying to figure out.
Like, do people still care, though? Like, are people still...
Obviously, yeah. People still care, but when I say people care, we're not talking about the Hollywood moguls, right? People are picking it up right now. And you know how I was telling you, like, on TikTok, one of the videos has like 10 million views on TikTok from the last 3 days.
Right.
So the people who did know about it are finally catching on to everything, because there's a lot of podcasts out there in the last 3 days that are actually doing deep dives now. So it's like, okay, so people are listening now, apparently.
Right.
And Dior is the only one who didn't turn their back on Johnny Depp.
Did Dior ever say why?
Johnny
Did you ever have a
Depp's
press conference or anything? A press release about that?
Nope. They don't need to.
It's a cool commercial.
Sales have gone up. Sales have gone up with Johnny Depp.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, they don't need to do a press conference though.
It's a cool commercial. It's the one with the guitar, right? We picked up the guitar in desert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but he's
cool.
trying to save 30 years of his career at this point.
Yeah.
And so they're gonna have 100 witnesses and a lot of his exes, and then you know how we talked about her affairs with Elon Musk and that Franco guy.
Right.
So there's supposed to be witnesses as well.
Oh gosh.
It's just sad. The biggest thing that I've seen from the videos from court is that Johnny Depp is sitting looking away from Amber Heard, and has her chair looking towards him, like wanting to make eyesight with him.
That's funny.
And there's a lot of smirks. Like if you look at the videos that are online, when witnesses are talking about how bad, like her assistant was saying she was abusive to her,
right,
and her family, like you can see she smirks a lot,
right,
which is something that you saw a lot in the deposition,
right?
So they think she, therapists of sorts think she has a narcissistic personality, but whatever. My thing is she beat him up. There's her saying on tape that she beat him up, right? And yet she's not canceled. I'm not saying he's not an asshole and crazy and, but he's really fighting for his career at this point, and he's willing to take it to every court possible, it seems. So, because 2 years ago we were talking about, the UK court. So
let me ask you this. Before the UK court, okay, so it's on tape about her beating him up and admitting to that and all that. Is this the first time that's being heard in the court in the US? Or was that already tried?
No, it was those audio tapes were in part of the deposition.
And what happened there?
Nothing. It's a deposition. So the video of the depositions are online as well. I can't really tell you anything. I'm not a lawyer, but that's how those audios are out there.
Like there was no decision made, like for one or the other, based on the deposition?
Not that I'm aware of. And so they're suing each other for defamation, first in the UK and now in the States. But this is, I guess, the first time for a lot of people listening to it or actually paying attention and listening to these audios that you and I discussed about, Right. So I'm curious as to, she could well win as well. I don't know. It's like defamation, but 50 million to 100, it's 150 million in total that they're suing each other for. They're not going to let this go.
So how does the word hoax become worth $100 million?
I don't know.
That sounds really silly.
She's going for the carotid artery, right?
This is the judge is like he throws
Like,
her out of the
dude,
court.
his
Like, what the
career is
fuck?
over. No one's fucking hiring him.
No.
You know what I mean? And again, for those of you who haven't heard most of it, and again, I'm going to paraphrase because there's a lot of information online. There's cheating allegations between Franco and Elon Musk. There's footage of them coming in and out of Johnny Depp's penthouse in downtown LA when he wasn't there with Amber Heard, right? There's also the video of her filming him when he's like totally flipping out. Where you can tell she's obviously trying to film him and she's aggravating him in the video. Then there's there's the audio of the ER where his, finger was severed. And in the ER, they're talking about how it was her, and you can hear her screaming belligerently in the background. Then there's the deposition videos where she doesn't look really good, yet nothing's happened to her and his career is over. And I guess that's where a lot of people are starting to see that and doing deep dives now. The other thing is I'm curious to see what Elon Musk and Franco are going to say and what they're going to be asking them. There's obviously text messages between Elon Musk and Amber Heard that are also public. You guys can search them. Again, these were made public through the deposition as well. So all of this is old information, except that now Johnny Depp has a lot of witnesses that are basically coming forward and saying, maybe not saying Johnny Depp is the sweetest thing, doesn't have issues, right? Alcoholism issues or whatever, but basically saying Amber Heard is crazy.
Right.
And, like yesterday it was, I think the sister, Johnny Depp's sister, talked about how Johnny Depp's mother abused him verbally and physically, and he has that childhood trauma, and he's never been one. He would just kind of take the abuse, right? And then talked about how when Dior hired Johnny Depp, the Johnny Depp's sister said that she heard Amber Heard saying, I don't understand why they would hire your old fat ass. Like she was that type of person. That's the type of person Amber Heard was as far as how she would talk to Johnny Depp.
Right.
And then, there was also the personal assistant who was Amber Heard, and she basically said she was abusive. And abusive not only to her, but she witnessed her being abusive to her. Amber Heard was being abusive to her mother and her sister. Now, the other thing we talked about was, for those of you maybe who have not noticed or haven't heard yet in your deep dives, is that Amber Heard, remember I talked about this? Do you remember what I'm about to say?
Was it about the I know you're gonna say, I just can't put it into words at the moment. I can visualize it in my mind. Was the phone conversation? No. I give up.
Everyone can kind of look that up. But Amber Heard was previously charged with domestic violence.
Oh, that's right.
Her girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who then later dropped the charges. This is before Johnny Depp. So it's not the first time she's been physical. But no one's talking about that shit.
So is she going to be a witness? That's the main
that I don't
question.
know. I don't know. Remember we talked about that? I was like, and then, days later, the girlfriend dropped the charges. But she had charged, and Amber Heard was arrested for domestic violence.
Yeah, she needs to come back. we need to come back. We need like this no-name girlfriend to like take a stand and tell her side of the story, because I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like he's getting a fair trial so far with the last deposition and the last UK trial. I could be wrong. Maybe I don't understand it all. But again, it's not because I'm against the Me Too movement or anything like that. It's just I'm against her actions, and the lies and everything she's been caught with. Like, especially, the incident, remember, with her supposedly being hit and bruised in her face and all that, and the makeup artist being like, no, she was never hurt.
Mm-hmm.
She was never, like, it was right before a photo shoot and she claimed she was beaten up. And it's like, come on.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Amber Heard's parents are going to be on. We also discussed Amber Heard's parents post them going through the divorce, texting Johnny Depp and saying, you know, her lawyer told her to say this about you, say that about you. Because we're also using the deposition.
Yeah, see, I wonder, because between the deposition and the UK law, which is different, and what's admissible in court, like, what is this judge going to allow, you know? Because he may not allow those conversations. And if he doesn't, then it doesn't help Johnny Depp, you know?
No, it doesn't. And I think what people are upset about is the fact that she's still working. Maybe not as much as before, right? But she's still an Aquaman. So a lot of people are like, yeah, okay, Johnny Depp was canceled. He's not the best, you know, he's an alcoholic. He's this, he's that. But yet you have all this evidence that's out there of her being physical with him as well.
Right.
Why isn't she canceled? And I think that's what a lot of people are upset about. I'm not a Johnny Depp fan, but I'm definitely siding with him based on everything we discussed in the last 2 years. And so I just find it interesting that he's willing to go all the way. Think about this. We have people who go down, they're being told. He's like the only one that was canceled and is still fighting and taking her to court because he believes so much in his innocence. I'm not saying he wasn't toxic, right? Or I'm not saying we don't know all the details, but based on what we see online, all of this audio is out there and videos and deposition, right? She comes off like very, kind of like a bitch.
Yeah, but that's not it. It's like, am I mistaken, or is there actually no proof at all that he's never hit her? Like, maybe verbally abused me. Yeah, maybe everybody calls each other names, right? But
yeah, so there's no, okay. So that's where the question comes in, where the LAPD came into, where she called the cops and said that he hit me. Per the LAPD report, there was no notable injuries on her, right? Then when she did the restraining orders, when she showed up to court with the press somehow being there to do a restraining order against him, right? And she had a bruise. And then the makeup artist testified in the UK that she didn't have the bruise the day before either. So, but somehow she's winning these things, or people are siding with her, even though everything else shows that it's kind of odd.
You think that people are just too caught up with the movement? And because I did notice that she's still playing the victim, and she's still calling herself a victim of domestic abuse or whatever, you know, and it's just like, dude, you gotta let that go. Like, none of that's been proven.
And well, I mean, let's say she was. Let's say they both were.
The more she talks about it, the more people believe it, right? Because she keeps telling you that. Well, that's what she wants.
Right. That's what she wants. But I think the movement right now is that people are looking at all the audio and video and all of the deposition. So people are looking at that now, and people are like finally being like, but again, when I say people, I'm talking about people like you and me, right? Not Warner Brothers and the DC, right?
Right.
They're actually like, why isn't she canceled? Because everything else shows. And again, no one's saying that he's not an abuser. No one's as far as verbal, whatever, right? Because they were obviously toxic for each other. But I guess the biggest thing is like, why is she still working?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm more excited to see what Elon Musk, if he will, through video. Apparently he's going to do it through video. They're going to ask him. It's I mean, this isn't civil court. You know what I mean? There's not a criminal case or anything, but it's just sad.
I wonder, I mean, is he siding with her, or is he siding, like, what's his, you know what his story is?
No. Other than the text messages that were released in the deposition, no, I don't know. He's not talked about it. In the text messages, he talked about maybe getting her, they were still married, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And so she was relying on him and on Elon Musk and telling him about the situation. So he wanted to pay for her security based on that stuff. But then apparently she claim that Elon Musk was tracking her after the fact, trying to track her. I don't know. So she seems like she accuses a lot of people. But what we do know for a fact is that she was charged with domestic violence years before Johnny Depp, when she beat up her girlfriend at the time. And of course, no one's talking about that. I don't think she's part of the 100 witnesses, but if she is, Lord.
I mean, that would be cool.
I wouldn't trust her if she dropped the charges.
So I imagine the makeup artist is part of the witnesses?
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
$100 million. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like the guy's already done and you're kicking him, you know?
Yeah.
And it's at the same time, you're still working. And I do love...
No one's hiring him.
Yeah. I do love that when posts pop up online about Aquaman, that people are standing up for him in the comments. And they're like, you know, they're saying things like, why is she working? Like, you know, there's people that are going out that are calling for a ban of the movie, you know? I don't know how effective it is, or if that, what's that movement called online? The Million Signatures movement, you know?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Whatever that's called. It has a name. I can't remember the name right now. But I know that was a thing for a while. And I look at the comments every time the Aquaman, because I follow the director. He's a horror movie director. If people don't know, James Wan. He directed the first two Aquaman movies, and he announced recently that it wrapped. So they're working on the visual effects right now. And then if you look at the comments, sometimes you see a lot of comments about negative against her, because people are pissed off, you know, because people do realize that it's like, he's no saint, and maybe things were wrong between them, but she's clearly, it looks like with all the evidence, she did bad things, and yet he is being blamed and she's the victim. And it's like, how does that work?
Yeah. And one of the biggest quotes, if you guys look at the audios from the deposition, where they're playing these audios for Amber Heard and she's smirking and laughing.
Right.
The quote, and I'm quoting Amber Heard. She says, "Tell the world, Johnny, tell them. I, Johnny Depp, a man, I'm a victim, right? 2, of domestic violence, and see how many people believe or side with you." And she, in this video, she's like, basically, no one's going to side with you. Go ahead, tell them that I hit you.
Yeah.
And she talks about hitting him. And then when he says, you have to promise me that you're not going to do it again. And she says, I can't promise you that I'm not going to be physical again. And she was arguing with him about how she hit him. He basically was like, you punched me. And she's like, I did not punch you. My hand was open. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, it's stupid. But she was filming their interactions, and some of it was used, you know, in the deposition. And then we talked about the turd, Amber Turd. Apparently that came up again.
Imagine if like Elon Musk takes a stand and like he just doesn't know what to say, and he just gets up there and they're like, tell us your relationship with her, and he's like, she was a great fuck, and no, she did not poop in my bed.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. So he's supposed to do it online, apparently. But if you guys haven't heard that story, Johnny Depp alleges that she defecated on his bed. And so they started calling her Amber Turd in text messages. And the housekeeping and the cleaners said that, you know, they obviously had 2-3 dogs, and they knew how those dogs took shits. And this was a human fucking turd. Right. For lack of a better term. God. On his bed. And so that was something that was brought up in court again. And her lawyers tried to say that one of the dogs had GI problems. Right. And that everyone knew about that. This literally happened yesterday. Yeah. Oh my God. I was like, oh, Amber Turd. Yeah.
But there's photos of that, right? I think, right? Or something?
There might be. I haven't seen them, but there might be.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Show a picture of the dog is probably as big as a purse. And it's like,
they're small dogs, apparently.
Yeah. And then it's like, look at a picture, and it's like the size of a watermelon. Yeah. That'd be hilarious.
So I really hope, honestly, that, I feel for both of them. Obviously, there's some hate on her end, she's obviously, what I've seen is, based when we talked about this 2 years ago and based on the UK trial, which we talked about, she really definitely wants to control the narrative. And so, like I said, in the UK, she came out before they even the judge finally said her ruling. She was already having a press conference outside, you know what I mean? Trying
Right.
to control the narrative. And again, I'm not saying Johnny Depp's not an asshole. I'm not saying, I don't know him personally, right?
Right.
He obviously has a drinking problem, which is known. But what we do have on video and on audio is her admitting to being abusive to him. But yet she's not canceled. So I'm curious to see, with more people now, listening to it, because it's in the States now and TikTok's kind of picked it up, and TikTok is a fucking beast. You know that.
Right.
They're solving crimes and shit. Like,
Right.
if her career is over, she might have small roles, but I don't see her having another big role.
But what
like
happens?
Aquaman.
I mean, what seriously happens if like she is found to be guilty? What happens to her? Like, seriously?
No, nothing happens to her. She's just gonna have to pay money. Oh, the other thing, remember we talked about 2 years ago how she won money from Johnny Depp, and she said in court that she was going to donate it to a foundation, and she never did.
Right.
Yeah, she still hasn't. And so that's one part of his argument as well.
Oh,
so she's
funny.
been caught in court documents being a fucking liar, basically.
That's funny.
So nothing's going to happen to her. This is a civil case. She will probably be ordered if she were to lose, which I don't think she will, because she hasn't lost shit. Even though if you look at it, like, she doesn't give a shit and she's conniving. But I don't think Aquaman is the end of it as far as big roles for her. This is as far as it goes. I think that's the end of her career, to be honest. She'll do independent movies, if that.
What happens to him though? Yeah, what happens to him?
He
if
was
he
canceled.
loses, but if he loses again, I mean, I don't know if he has $100 million to give her. He probably does, probably not. I don't know. But the money aside, what happens to, like, is this?
Well, he could lose to her. They're countersuing her, so she could also lose the countersuit. Do you get what I mean? So they could both lose and nothing happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
goal here is that he's just trying to save whatever grace he has and his career.
Yeah.
And if you guys are not following this, you don't have to. But when was the last time you saw him in a big movie? The moment he got canceled, he was done.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought we'd talk about it.
I mean, one thing about Hollywood, though, I don't know about her, but about him at least. One thing about Hollywood is that Hollywood tends to forget. So
You would think, but nobody's hiring him.
Yeah, but
it's been years now since they've been canceled.
That's because
years.
The trials are also still going on, Like, you got to start the clock after the trial's over, If they say, hey, give it 5 years, then you got to start the watch after this trial's over. Which sucks because he's what? Is he 60 years old now, or almost 60 or something?
I don't know.
He's close to 60, I think, right? Or something like that. Like, you'd add 5 more years to that, and then maybe somebody says, hey, we'll put you in an action movie or, something. It's like, you feel for the guy, because, I mean, he still has a music career, but still acting is something he's known for. He's known as being a leading man in these franchises, whether it was the Willy Wonka movies or the Pirates of the Caribbean movies or what's the latest one? The spin-off from the Harry Potter, right? Those movies.
Yeah, the Fantastic Beasts. Which
Beasts.
Is what he did one and then they let him go.
Right.
And there's a new one coming out, and everyone, when the trailer came out, everyone was like, fuck, that this should be Johnny Depp.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see her as having a clear and cut, dry case to say
she
that
doesn't.
she doesn't. And there's a lot of proof out there with the audio tapes and all that, and the text and email, whatever. There's like a lot of proof.
But remember, we talked. It comes down to technicalities.
Right.
And so in the UK, it came down to, was he or she lying?
Right.
Not so much the domestic. And so that's the tricky end. So right now, she's countersuing for defamation, $100 million. The judge could say, you lose, you don't get shit.
Right.
And, he's suing for 50 for calling him not directly, a domestic abuser.
Right.
And so he's trying to show that he is not in character with all of these people, witnesses, but also using her words against her. But, the same thing could happen, and she'll probably, before the judge or the jury comes to an thing, she'll be giving a press conference. Let's bet. How much you want to bet that's what this bitch is going to do? Excuse my language.
No excusing your language. We got freedom of speech here. Mary is free to explain her emotions all she wants.
Yeah. Did I tell you someone wrote in and I got her, like, it was like a review saying, what was it that they said? They were like, I really enjoy this. I like how you and I kind of argue sometimes. We don't argue, but we have like deep conversations. And then they said they like how I low key throw in bad words because it sounds cute for some reason. And they quoted, when we did the, what episode was it? I forgot the name of the episode. It was one of our popular episodes where I said the bitch killed him. Oh my God.
All right.
Doomsday Mom.
Yes,
I forgot her name.
Yeah.
Lori Vallow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. They quoted me as saying the way she said the bitch killed him.
Right.
And this is before she was arrested.
That's funny.
But yeah. So there's certain things
funny.
I'm passionate about. But one of these is no one is saying Johnny Depp isn't crazy or abusive verbally, but so was she. And there's evidence of it. So why isn't she canceled? So
it's
cancel culture, write into us and tell us.
Yeah, call us at 1-800-520 Purposely Curious.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting because the UK court, it was decided by, is it one judge or a panel of judges? It was something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to them. And the court ended and they had months to give a verdict. The interesting thing is when you contrast that to what we have here in the United States, we have a jury, right, for this trial? I believe
so, yeah.
And if there is a jury, the prosecuting or the defending lawyer, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt to that jury and the judges, or both, or either or, that she did not abuse him. And that's going to be very difficult for her to prove because it's in the audio tapes.
Yeah.
It's in the text messages. So it's like, if that jury finds him guilty or her not guilty, whatever, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's like...
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. That's the tricky part of the civil case, Leonie, is that he's suing her for defamation.
Right.
When she wrote that, she never once said his name. But she talked about being a survivor of domestic violence. So this is why I think they would side with her, because she never said Johnny Depp beat my ass up in that article. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
but
he's not suing her for you beat me up. It's a defamation case. So you're seeing it like she beat him up, which we see that in the audios, but that's not what the lawsuit is. This is, you fucked up my character by saying this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because the defamation, it's a higher stakes game than beating someone up, because it's this whole
her argument, she never said his name. And that's why if you look at the legalities of it, she never said Johnny Depp beat me up. My ex-husband beat me up. She never said that. And that's why I think she's going to win if we look at technicalities of it. But there's
audio of his voice and her voice on the same tapes, right?
There is audio, but that's not the lawsuit. Does that make sense?
My brain hurts.
So I understand what you're saying. In
Yeah.
public opinion, she's an abuser because that's obvious, right? The lawsuit is defamation from that article that everyone knew and assumed that was him.
Right.
But she never said it was my last ex-husband. It was Johnny Depp. So that's why I think she's going to win.
God, this sucks.
Does that but in public opinion, I don't think she's going to get hired for Aquaman is as big as it gets for her.
And her
career is over
that's fine.
In that sense.
That's fine, but also his career is completely done as well.
His career is completely done, and that's my argument is why the fuck is he still canceled?
Right.
But that's where she's going to win.
You can't reverse that. That's a problem. You can't reverse the damage that's been done to him. You can't reverse that.
You can't. No. And the only one that's paying him is Dior at this point.
Right.
But that's when I think she's going to win is because she never mentioned him by name.
Right.
So the defamation is, if it's just based on this article that she did, I don't think he has a case.
Right.
And I'm siding with him. But if we're going to look at technicalities, and that's what happened in the UK. If you follow the law, right?
Yeah.
But it's obvious based on the audios and videos and the deposition, she was physical with him. She beat him up a few times.
Right.
So the question is not so much that, but why she wasn't canceled. She should have been canceled along with him.
Right.
But she used the Me Too movement, which was going on really strong at the moment, to make it to where he was canceled and she wasn't. And now, 2 years later, 3-4 years later, more people are starting to see the big picture, but it's too late now. But I think she's going to win in the sense, no one's going to win here. They're both going to lose their cases, is what I think. Public opinion, though, I think is going to lean towards him.
Right. But does that matter? Is that enough? Like, is public opinion enough to, bring back...
That's a good question. That's a good question because none of us... Public opinion, we can all love Johnny Depp, right? We can all say, you were fucked, and we can all say, fuck Amber Heard, right? But we're not the ones writing the paychecks and hiring for movies. So that's where I don't know how Hollywood is gonna be. I mean, look at all the shit Hollywood's been through. Yeah. I think in public opinion, she's done.
Yeah.
But we can't hire him for movies because none of us are writing those checks. You know
what I think, though? You know what I think might happen here is I think his friends in high places, these other big name actors he's friends with, are eventually, once this is cleared, and hopefully his name is cleared, and at least he's not guilty, hopefully. This is, I think that eventually these big name people will come fight for him to say, hey, he needs to be in this movie. And I think with those actors rallying for him, eventually I think slowly we might see him in things again, because that's what it might take. I mean, I'm thinking about what happened to Joe Rogan recently. Something surfaced from his past, said some racial things, and he got canceled immediately, right? Everybody canceled, like, oh, he's a racist, this and this, whatever. And, he came out and he said, look, I said these things 12 years ago. They were not appropriate. I apologize. I don't know, what I was thinking, this and this, whatever, But even all the people around him, though, like all his famous guests came up to bat for him and said, hey, like, he's a good guy. Like, like we should not be canceling someone because of this or that, whatever. Whether or not you agree or disagree or it's right or it's wrong, I don't know. I don't know the right answer to that, to be honest with you, because, the internet is written in ink. You say something, it's going to be there forever. This conversation you and I are having, somebody's going to clip this and save it and post it somewhere else. And in 30 years, this podcast won't be around, but the conversation we had will somewhere, And maybe we said something controversial because in the future, everybody's super woke and you can't say anything bad about anything, Maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. But I don't know. Like in that case, I just noticed that people came up to bat for him. All the famous comedians, sure, there were some big name actors who said no, like pull my music off Spotify, whatever. I get it. So I don't know which side is right, to be honest with you. But he didn't go away. His show is still there. He's still doing fine. He deeply apologizes for what he said. I'm sure he's never going to do it again. And I'm sure that's not who he is, but it just seems like people came to his support, like to rally behind him. And I have a feeling that when this is over, Johnny Depp's Hollywood crowd, like the big names that we haven't heard from in a while, are going to probably come up to him and be like, we need you to be in this Netflix series. We need you to be here and there. And they're gonna come up to bat, and if he's deserving and his name is cleared and all that, and he deserves to have a second chance, then I hope he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is not a clear and cut case, unfortunately. Like if it was, I would understand. I'm like, the dude's a wife beater, the dude's racist, the dude's this, he almost killed her. I get it. Fuck that guy, go to jail, But none of that happened. And she is kind of the crazy one here, She's the one with the stories. There's a bunch of people against her, that are like, yeah, this girl's wacko. This girl's not right, and this girl's lying, and there's proof, and here's the photos, and here's the audio tape. So it's like there's more against her than anything. So
yeah, and that's something completely. When I say the reason why he's losing and she's not winning, she's also losing,
right,
is that it comes down to defamation. And that's completely different than a criminal case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why they're both losing, but they're just fucking going after each other. And it's been fucking years now.
Yeah.
Almost going to be in, it's like 6 years of them doing this shit to themselves, and so, yeah. So in public opinion, I think she's done. I think he's going to lose his case, and so is she. So they're going to walk away without owing each other. But I think public opinion is she's lied multiple times. And it's, it's all on the internet, guys. This is our 3rd episode. I just needed to vent. I'm just like, how are people still how are people only just finding out about all this shit that's on there?
Right.
But anyway, this will be the last Johnny Depp.
No, that's not true. Ladies and gentlemen, not true. Just
he's gonna sue her again.
Keep calling 1-800-520-Purposely Curious and keep requesting that you want to hear more about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and Mary will come up with another reason and topic for the podcast.
Don't call that number, by the way. He just made it.
No, it's true. The number works. I tested it. Oh gosh.
But thank you so much for joining us on another episode.
Always my pleasure. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much.
Yes. Oh, and before we go, I'm going to do another dream episode, but I'm going to do a dreaming session with our last guest. So I'm going to have kind of my experience on one of the future episodes on how that went. So I just wanted to fill you in.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited though, just to see.
So cool.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hope to talk to you soon, Yoni.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. That was episode 90 of the Purposely Curious podcast. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on most podcast platforms, and follow us on social media at Purposely Curious on Instagram and at Purposely C Pod on Twitter. That's Purposely, the letter C, Pod. Until next time, you know what to do.